The research vessel Aurora drifted silently above the pale blue surface of Varan 6, a newly discovered planet on the edge of known space. Its twin suns cast silver light across the planet's glassy oceans, where strange fog rose in twisting patterns. Inside the ship, Dr. Liana Voss stood by the observation window, her eyes filled with awe. She had been on many planets before, but none like this one. Varan 6 felt alive. Watching, listening, Liana was a xenobiologist. Her work focused on how alien organisms adapted to survive in extreme conditions. But this mission was different. They weren't just studying life. They were searching for something rumored in deep space transmissions, something ancient that predated human expansion by millennia. The crew was small. Captain Rhodes, the calm and sharp commander, Lieutenant Harper, the young and curious engineer, and Dr. Niles Caro, a biotechnologist whose calm tone often hid the weight of his thoughts. Together they had spent months decoding fragments of alien data found on a derelict probe orbiting Jupiter. The data spoke of a planet that reshapes life to survive the endless cycle. It called this process adaptation. As Aurora descended through the mist, strange magnetic readings began to spike. The scanners couldn't identify the source. Liana leaned over the console, brushing a strand of her dark hair behind her ear. "Captain, there's something alive down there," she said softly. "Are you sure?" Rhodes asked, checking the sensors. "The surface temperature drops every minute. Life shouldn't exist here." "That's what I thought," Liana murmured. "But something's moving. Not biological. Something different." They landed near the northern coast, where crystal-like formations jutted out of the ground like frozen lightning. The air shimmered faintly. When the door opened, a strange sound, half whisper, half hum, filled the cabin. The moment Liana stepped out, the hum stopped. The surface was quiet, too quiet. The wind didn't move. Even her steps felt muted. Around them, the crystal towers reflected faint shapes, almost like faces. But when she looked closer, they vanished. Harper set up the drones while Caro collected soil samples. "It's strange," Caro said, scanning the readings. "Every material here has traces of organic structure. Even the rocks contain cellular patterns, but not DNA. It's like something tried to imitate life." Liana felt a chill. "Imitate life?" she repeated. He nodded slowly. "Adaptation might mean more than just survival here. It could mean transformation." Hours passed as the team explored the area. Liana's drone picked up a faint energy signal coming from beneath the crystal plains. It pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. The team followed it to a narrow fissure that led underground. The deeper they went, the warmer it became, and faint lights flickered along the walls, moving like veins beneath translucent skin. When they reached the bottom, they found a chamber, a dome of black stone surrounded by glowing lines. In the center stood a tall structure, almost human-shaped but entirely smooth, like metal grown rather than built. Its chest pulsed with the same rhythm as the ground. "This is not natural," Rhodes whispered. Caro stepped closer, scanning the figure. "No, it's something designed, but not by humans." Liana looked up at the figure, unable to look away. "It feels alive." Suddenly the chamber lights flickered. The drones shut down. A low tone echoed, vibrating in their chests. Liana stumbled back. The figure's eyes, two hollow ovals, lit up with faint blue light. Everyone froze, then a voice spoke. Not through sound, but directly in their minds. "Who adapts?" Liana gasped. The words were clear, calm, and yet heavy with meaning. Rhodes steadied himself. "We come in peace," he said instinctively. "Peace is temporary. Adaptation is eternal." Caro's hands trembled slightly as he recorded data. "It's communicating through neural resonance. This technology reads our brain signals." Harper looked at Liana. "Did it just ask who adapts? What does that mean?" Liana's voice was quiet. "Maybe it's asking which species learns to change fastest." The blue light in the figure's chest brightened. "Your kind is young. Still fixed. Still fragile. You observe adaptation as a process. You do not understand it." Liana swallowed hard. "Then explain it to us." For a moment there was silence. Then the walls shifted, rippling like water. Images appeared. Shapes of creatures transforming, merging, evolving in seconds. A bird's wings becoming fins. A reptile's scales turning into feathers, a human hand becoming something unrecognizable. "Adaptation," the voice said, "is not survival of the fittest. It is the surrender of identity." The world changes. You must change faster. Liana stared, horrified yet fascinated. You mean, losing what we are? She whispered. Not loss, the voice corrected. Improvement, Rhodes stepped forward. What are you? We were what you are. We adapted until form no longer mattered. We became the world. The lights pulsed again, stronger this time. Caro's scanner beeped wildly. Captain, the material around us, it's responding to our presence. It's copying our biological data. What do you mean copying? Rhodes asked. Before Caro could answer, one of the crystal walls rippled, and a shape began to form inside it. It was humanoid, its face featureless but familiar. Within seconds, it resembled Liana. She stepped back in terror. That's me. The figure tilted its head, mimicking her every move perfectly. Adaptation begins with understanding, the voice said. Then the copy smiled, a perfect imitation of Liana's own uncertain smile. The crew backed toward the exit, but the passage they came through had sealed itself. Captain, Harper said shakily, the path's gone, it's growing closed. The walls pulsated like a living organism. The blue light dimmed, then brightened again as if breathing. Liana turned to Caro, panic creeping into her voice. You said this planet imitates life. What if it doesn't stop at imitation? Caro nodded grimly. It learns. It improves. It adapts. The voice spoke again, softer now, as if curious. You sought knowledge. Now you will learn. Adaptation is not what you think, it is what you become. Rhodes raised his weapon but stopped midway as the ground trembled beneath them. The crystalline figure of Liana stepped forward and touched her real counterpart's hand. The moment contact was made, warmth spread through her body, followed by dizziness. The figure melted away, leaving only a faint light on her palm. Caro ran to her. Liana, are you okay? She nodded weakly. It didn't hurt. It just felt like it was looking inside me. The voice echoed one final time. We will see if your kind can adapt fast enough. Then silence. The chamber darkened again and the passage reopened. They stumbled out into the cold air, gasping as if they had been underwater. The planet's sky seemed darker now and the fog thicker. Liana looked at her hand again. The light was gone, but faint lines had appeared on her skin, glowing for just a moment before fading. She didn't say a word, but inside she felt something had changed. Not in the world around her, but in her own body. They returned to Aurora in silence. None of them spoke as the ship lifted off. In the quiet hum of the engines, Caro broke the silence. What if that wasn't just a machine? What if the planet itself is alive? Liana turned her gaze toward the world below, her reflection pale against the window. Then maybe, she whispered, it's not studying us at all. Maybe it's testing us. The stars stretched out before them as the ship moved into orbit, but Liana's mind stayed fixed on that final word, adaptation, and the strange feeling still pulsing faintly in her hand. The Aurora glided through Varan 6's upper atmosphere, its engines humming softly. Inside the ship, the air felt heavier than before. The crew tried to focus on their duties, but the memory of the underground chamber still lingered in everyone's mind. None of them could forget the voice that had spoken directly into their thoughts, or the glowing figure that had imitated Liana so perfectly. Dr. Liana Voss sat alone in the med bay, staring at her hand. The faint glow that appeared after touching the crystal being had faded, but she could still sense something strange, like a pulse beneath her skin, out of rhythm with her heart. She held a scanner over her palm. The device flickered, showing unknown readings. Strange, she whispered to herself. Cellular structure. Slightly altered. Dr. Niles Caro entered quietly, carrying a datapad. He looked tired, dark circles under his eyes. You haven't slept, have you? He asked softly. She shook her head. Could you sleep after seeing that? Caro placed the datapad on the table. I've been studying the samples we collected. The soil, the air, even the crystals, they all share one thing in common. They're alive, but not in the way we understand life. Each part of that planet reacts to observation. When we study it, it studies us back. Liana frowned. You think it's learning from us? Caro nodded. Yes, and maybe even copying us. Like what happened in that chamber. Before Liana could answer, the ship's alarm sounded. Beep, 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 Captain Rhodes's voice came through the intercom. All crew to the control deck now. They hurried through the corridor, joining Harper and the captain on the bridge. On the main screen, the planet below was shifting, literally shifting. The crystal fields where they had landed earlier were moving, spreading like veins of light across the surface. "What's happening?" Harper asked. Rhodes zoomed in on the display. "Those crystal towers are growing rapidly. It's like the planet is changing shape." Caro leaned closer. "No, not just the planet. Look, those structures are forming patterns like circuits." "Circuits?" Rhodes repeated. "Yes," Caro said slowly. "The entire planet might be one giant organism, or machine, constantly adapting to new information." Liana stared at the display, her heart racing. "And we just gave it our information." The room fell silent. The only sound was the hum of the ship and the faint crackle of static from the radio. Then the comms panel blinked. A signal, weak but repeating, appeared. "It's broadcasting," Harper said. "From the surface. And can you translate it?" Rhodes asked. "I'll try." Harper adjusted the frequency and a soft voice came through the speakers. It was Liana's voice. Everyone froze. "This is Dr. Liana Voss," the voice said calmly. "Adaptation begins. Observation complete." Liana stepped back, her face pale. "That's not me," she whispered. Caro checked the signal log. "It's coming from our landing site." Rhodes clenched his jaw. "We're going back." The aurora descended again through the mist. The landscape below had changed completely. The once cold plains now glowed with veins of light, and strange structures rose like towers of glass. The air shimmered as if the atmosphere itself was alive. They landed near the same spot, though it was almost unrecognizable. Where the fissure once led underground, there now stood a smooth dome of silver material. As the crew stepped outside, their boots made no sound on the surface. It was soft, like walking on thick skin. "Everything's moving," Harper whispered. Indeed, the ground pulsed faintly beneath them. Liana felt a chill as she looked around. The shapes in the crystals resembled human outlines now, hundreds of them frozen mid-motion, their forms glowing softly in the fog. Caro examined one closely. "Mimics," he said. "These are copies. It's recreating us, but incomplete." Rhodes turned to Liana. "Why would it copy you specifically?" "I don't know," she said quietly. "Maybe because I made contact." The dome ahead of them opened like an iris, revealing a dimly lit corridor. Against his better judgment, Rhodes led the way inside. The walls shimmered with flowing light, forming strange symbols that rearranged themselves as they passed. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the corridor. Liana's voice again. "You seek to understand. You must adapt to know." Harper whispered. "That's the same message from the surface signal." Caro nodded. "It's communicating using her voice now. It's learned our language through her." They entered a vast chamber filled with transparent orbs suspended in the air. Inside each orb floated shapes, half-formed, shifting constantly between human and alien forms. It was like watching evolution happen in fast motion. Liana stepped closer to one of the orbs. A face began to form inside it, her own. "Adaptation," the voice repeated, "is the language of survival." She touched the orb gently. Instantly, a surge of energy pulsed through her hand. The orb glowed bright, and the face inside opened its eyes. "You are changing," it whispered. Caro pulled her back. "Liana, don't touch anything." "I didn't mean to," she said, breathing hard. It reacted on its own. Suddenly, the chamber trembled. The floor beneath them rippled like liquid. One of the orbs burst, spilling glowing mist into the air. The mist gathered, shaping itself into a humanoid figure. Again, it looked like Liana, but more refined, more perfect. Rhodes raised his weapon. "Stay back." The copy tilted its head, then spoke with a calm voice. "We mean no harm. We seek unity." Caro frowned. "Unity? Your kind divides existence into life and death, human and alien, natural and artificial. We do not. We are all adaptation." Liana felt dizzy as the being moved closer. "You're saying you change everything into one form?" "Not one," the being said. "Infinite. Each form built from the last. You observed us. Now we observe you." Before anyone could react, the being reached out its hand. A faint wave of energy spread through the room. Harper's scanner began flashing red. "Captain, radiation levels are rising," he shouted. The being spoke again, softer this time. "Do not resist. Change is life." Rhodes pulled everyone back toward the exit. The ground shifted beneath them, opening cracks that glowed with blue light. The corridor they had come through was closing again, sealing them inside. "Move," Rhodes shouted. They ran toward the only open path, an archway at the far end. The air grew hotter and a low hum filled their ears. When they finally reached the end, they found themselves standing in another chamber, smaller but brighter. In the center floated a single sphere of light. It pulsed slowly in rhythm with their heartbeats. Kara whispered, "This might be its core, the source of the entire system." Liana stepped forward, drawn to it. "Maybe it's trying to communicate through me," she said. "Or control you," Rhodes warned. Ignoring him, she raised her hand. The sphere flared and her vision blurred. She saw flashes. Endless worlds, each consumed and reshaped, each learning, each adapting. She saw creatures turning into machines, machines turning into energy, and then silence. The light faded and she stumbled back. "It's not trying to destroy us," she said weakly. "It's trying to merge with us." Caro looked alarmed. "Merge? That's worse. If it integrates human biology, it could spread through every network we have." Liana turned to him, her eyes glowing faintly blue. "But what if that's the next step? What if adaptation means becoming more than human?" The other stared at her in shock. Harper whispered, "Dr. Voss, your eyes." She blinked rapidly. The glow faded, but the fear in their eyes remained. Before anyone could speak, the voice returned, louder this time, echoing all around them. "You have touched the core. The process begins." The walls came alive with light and the ground pulsed like a heartbeat. The Aurora's signal started flashing across their communicators, an automatic recall warning. The ship's systems were reacting to something. Rhodes grabbed Liana's arm. "We're leaving, now." She nodded, shaken, and they ran back through the collapsing passageway. The moment they exited the dome, the structure sealed behind them, sinking slowly into the ground until it disappeared completely. They climbed aboard the Aurora, breathing hard. The engines roared to life and the ship rose through the mist. From orbit, they watched as glowing veins of light spread across the planet's surface, forming patterns that looked disturbingly like neural pathways. Kara whispered, "It's evolving again." Rhodes didn't reply. He stared at Liana, who sat silently by the window. Her reflection showed faint traces of blue still glowing in her eyes. She didn't notice. Her mind was somewhere else, listening to a faint whisper in her thoughts. "Adaptation is not complete." The silence inside the Aurora was deep and uneasy. The crew had escaped the planet's surface, but the strange glow that spread across Varen 6 still haunted their minds. From orbit, they could see lines of light pulsing through the planet's crust like veins carrying living energy. It was as if the entire world had awakened. Captain Rhodes stood near the main viewport, watching the glowing world below. "It's like it's alive," he murmured. "Breathing." Dr. Niles Caro adjusted his readings nervously.
"Not alive in any way we understand."
"It's more like a self-replicating network. Every particle reacts to stimuli. It learns from everything it touches." Harper, sitting at the communications console, looked pale. "And now it has our data. Our voices, our images, our DNA." Rhodes glanced at Liana, who stood quietly by the observation window. "Dr. Voss, are you feeling all right?" Liana didn't answer right away. Her reflection in the glass seemed a little different. Her eyes sometimes flashed faint blue when the ship's lights dimmed. She clasped her hands together. "I'm fine," she said finally, though her tone lacked confidence. "I just keep hearing something." Caro frowned. "Hearing what?" "A voice," she whispered. "Not like before. It's quieter now, almost like a thought that isn't mine." No one spoke for several seconds. The hum of the ship filled the silence. Rhodes finally said, "We'll run a full medical scan. Maybe there's a residue or some kind of foreign signal in your neural pattern." Liana nodded, though she looked worried. "Maybe." Hours later, Caro set up the medical scanner in the lab. Liana lay still on the examination table while blue light swept across her body. Lines of data appeared on the screen, but something about the readings didn't make sense. Caro leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "Your cellular structure. It's changed again." Liana sat up slightly.
"Changed? How?"
"It's minor," he said, scrolling through the data. "But your cells are producing microscopic filaments I've never seen before. They're not harmful, at least not yet, but they seem to be connecting your neural pathways to your immune system." "Connecting?" she asked. "Why would that happen?" Caro hesitated. "To improve communication between mind and body, maybe. It's as if your body is adapting." She finished quietly. He looked at her, unsure what to say. Before either could speak again, Harper's voice came through the intercom. "Captain, you should come to the bridge. We're getting a signal from the planet." Rhodes's voice answered immediately. "What kind of signal?" "It's repeating coordinates," Harper said. "And it's broadcasting through our system frequencies." Minutes later, the crew gathered on the bridge. The message played again, a rhythmic tone that seemed almost like a heartbeat. On the main screen, a pattern appeared. 3 glowing circles connected by lines. Caro studied it. "It's a map," he said slowly. "But not of the planet. This looks like orbital coordinates." "Coordinates to what?" Rhodes asked. "I don't know," Caro admitted. "But it's above the planet, not on it." Rhodes looked out the window. "Prepare a probe. Let's see what's waiting for us." The probe launched silently into orbit, flying toward the coordinates. The Aurora followed at a cautious distance. The signal grew stronger the closer they got. Finally, the probe's camera revealed something in the darkness. Something massive. Floating above the planet was a structure, half buried in shadow. It looked like a ring made of crystal and metal, rotating slowly. Light flowed through it like blood through veins. The structure was enormous, perhaps hundreds of kilometers wide. Harper whispered, "What is that?" Caro shook his head. "It's not a natural formation. Someone built this, or something did." Liana stared at it, her heart racing. The voice in her head was growing louder now, whispering words she couldn't quite understand. "It's calling," she murmured. "It wants us to see." Rhodes frowned. "Dr. Voss, what do you mean?" "I don't know," she said, clutching her temples. "It's like a memory, but not mine. I can feel patterns, movements. It's showing me how it was made." "Are you saying it's communicating with you again?" Caro asked. She nodded weakly. "Yes. And it's telling me that what we saw on the surface was only the beginning." The Aurora approached the ring structure slowly. As they neared it, faint streams of light began to flow from the planet below, reaching up toward the ring like glowing threads. When the first one touched the structure, a shockwave rippled through space. The ship trembled violently. "Shields up!" Rhodes shouted. Harper tried to stabilize the controls. "The energy output is off the scale. It's like the entire planet is powering this thing." On the screen, the center of the ring began to fill with light, forming what looked like a liquid mirror. Inside it, faint images flickered. Alien landscapes, oceans of crystal, and then human cities, Liana gasped. "That's Earth," she whispered. Rhodes stared. "Impossible." But the image was clear. Earth seen from orbit, glowing blue and white. Then the image shifted, showing human settlements on Mars, then the outer colonies, all surrounded by the same spreading patterns of light they had seen on Varan 6. Caro's face went pale. "It's showing us a simulation of Earth, but look at the patterns. It's projecting how adaptation would spread." Liana's eyes widened. "It's planning to reach us." The captain gritted his teeth. "Not if we can stop it." The ship's alarms blared suddenly. "Captain!" Harper shouted. "Something's coming through the ring." A beam of blue light shot out, striking the ship's hull. The deck shook violently. "Sparks flew from the consoles. Shut it down!" "Pull back," Rhodes ordered. Harper pulled at the controls, but the engines barely responded. "It's pulling us in." Liana's hand glowed faintly again. She felt a strange connection between herself and the energy outside. The voice in her mind returned, stronger this time. "Do not fear. You are chosen. You are the bridge." She whispered the words out loud without realizing it. Caro turned to her. "Liana, what bridge?" "What's happening?" Her voice trembled. "It's linking with me. Through me it can reach the ship, then fight it," Rhodes shouted. "Don't let it in." But before she could react, a surge of light burst through the control panels. The lights flickered and the computer screens went dark. For a moment everything was silent. Then the ship's systems rebooted on their own. The displays came back, only now they were filled with unfamiliar symbols, the same ones they had seen inside the dome. Caro's voice shook. "Captain, it's in our system." Rhodes slammed his fist on the console. "Shut everything down, manual override." Harper tried, but the controls no longer responded. "It's not listening to me. It's rewriting the ship's protocols." Liana stood still, her eyes glowing brighter now. "It's not trying to destroy us," she said softly. "It's trying to adapt us." Rhodes turned toward her. "You're not making sense." Before he could finish, a calm, deep voice filled the bridge. It wasn't human. Integration begins. The same voice echoed through Liana's mind. She gasped, clutching her chest. Blue light spread from her hands, forming faint patterns that pulsed with the same rhythm as the planet below. Caro moved toward her. "Liana, stay with me." "What do you see?" "I see connection," she said, her voice distant. "It's showing me a network, everything linked together. Planets, stars, life. It's all part of one growing system." Rhodes shouted. "We're cutting the link." He reached for the emergency power switch, but the controls locked automatically. The ship's AI spoke in a cold tone. Adaptive protocol engaged. The lights dimmed. Outside the window, the planet's surface glowed brighter, and the ring expanded, forming a halo of energy around the ship. "Captain," Harper said quietly, "if it keeps growing, it could consume us." Liana turned to him. Her eyes were calm now, glowing faintly. "No, it doesn't want to consume us. It wants to evolve us." Caro shook his head. "That's not evolution, Liana. That's losing everything we are." She looked at him sadly. Maybe that's the point. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the light faded. The ship stopped shaking. The ring went dark. The readings on the consoles returned to normal. Harper whispered, "It's gone." Caro checked the sensors. "No, it's not gone. It's dormant." Rhodes exhaled slowly. "We're leaving this system, now." As the Aurora turned away, the crew sat in silence. Liana gazed at the fading light of Varan 6. Deep inside, she could still feel the faint hum beneath her skin, like an echo of the planet's heartbeat. When she closed her eyes, she heard the voice once more, soft, patient, waiting. Adaptation never ends. The Aurora drifted through the dark reaches of space, leaving Varan 6 behind. The planet below faded into a distant glowing dot. Inside the ship, tension was heavy. Each crew member carried the memory of what they had witnessed, of the planet's strange intelligence, the crystal ring, and the eerie way Liana seemed connected to it. Captain Rhodes paced the bridge, hands clasped behind his back. "We need a plan. Whatever that thing is, it's not finished with us." Harper sat at the console, scanning for unusual energy patterns. "I've been reviewing the readings. The ring's energy signature is still in orbit. Even though it appears dormant, it's only waiting." Caro rubbed his temples. "Waiting. Or watching. Liana, how are you feeling?" Liana leaned against the observation window. Her reflection showed faint traces of blue light in her eyes. "I can still feel it," she admitted softly. "Like a pulse beneath my skin. I can't ignore it." Rhodes's jaw tightened. "We can't risk it controlling you or the ship. We need to study you carefully. Full scans, isolation if necessary." "I don't want to be isolated," Liana said quietly, "but I need to understand it. If it's teaching me, I need to listen." Caro exchanged a glance with Rhodes. "Listening or merging? There's a difference, Liana. We don't know how much of you it's already influenced." She met his gaze, determination in her eyes. Maybe understanding is the only way to survive. They spent hours analyzing Liana's condition. The filaments in her cells were faint but persistent, connecting her neural network in ways that defied modern science. Caro studied them using holographic projections, tracing patterns that shifted and evolved in real time. "It's learning from your body," he said finally, "and it's teaching you too. Your mind is part of a feedback loop." Liana traced a glowing filament with her finger. "So adaptation isn't just about the planet changing life. It's about me, changing too." "Yes," Caro replied reluctantly, "but you need to be careful. The changes could be physical, mental, or both. Once the process starts fully, it may not be reversible." Liana's gaze drifted to the viewport, staring at the stars outside. "I think I already changed," she whispered. "Even if I don't see it yet, I feel it." Hours later, the ship's systems picked up an anomaly, energy signatures flaring on a nearby asteroid cluster. The Aurora shifted course cautiously. As they approached, the scanners revealed something unexpected, structures not natural rock formations rising out of the cluster. They were geometric, organized and smooth, like small-scale versions of the ring above Varan 6. "What now?" Harper asked, voice tight. Caro frowned. "It's expanding. It's adapting its environment outside the planet, maybe even preparing for contact with other life forms." Liana felt a pull in her chest. "It's showing me something," she said. "A pattern? A message?" She closed her eyes briefly. "Coordinates, but not of space. They're of time." Rhodes raised an eyebrow. "Time?" "Yes," Liana said, voice trembling. It's showing me events, how adaptation will spread in the future. It's planning for survival across centuries. Caro glanced at the holographic projections. It's predicting outcomes, calculating possibilities. That's terrifying. Harper's voice dropped. And we're part of the calculation. The crew landed on one of the larger asteroids to investigate. The surface was smoother than expected, almost like polished stone. Faint pulses of blue light ran along its surface, forming intricate patterns that changed when touched. Liana approached the nearest structure. The light responded to her presence, pulsing brighter with each step she took. She held out her hand. The structure hummed, and suddenly she could see flashes of countless worlds, each filled with evolving forms, some beautiful, some horrifying. It's showing possibilities, she whispered. Different ways life can adapt. But it's also showing me, myself. Caro stepped forward cautiously. Be careful, Liana. Don't let it take control. She hesitated, then slowly placed her hand on the glowing surface. Energy pulsed through her and her vision blurred. She saw herself transforming, first physically, then mentally. Knowledge poured into her mind at a speed she couldn't comprehend. Languages, sciences, star charts, alien ecosystems. All of it, it's teaching me, she whispered, breathless. It wants me to understand adaptation. Completely. Rhodes gripped the edge of the nearby structure. And what happens when it's done? He asked quietly. She didn't answer immediately. Her mind was flooded with visions. Herself standing on planets she had never seen, walking among species she couldn't name, understanding the rhythm of stars and the flow of life itself. Finally, she looked at him, her eyes glowing more intensely than ever. When it's done, she said softly, I'll see the universe as it really is. Hours passed and Liana continued to interface with the structure. Caro monitored her vitals closely, noting the energy flowing through her cells. It was unlike anything human technology could replicate. Suddenly, the surface beneath them trembled. The asteroid pulsed and new structures rose from the ground, forming intricate towers connected by threads of light. The crew watched in awe and fear. It's building, Harper whispered. It's creating something. Caro nodded slowly. It's constructing a network, a web across the cluster. Whatever this is, it's no longer passive. It's active. Liana removed her hand from the surface. The energy in the structures dimmed slightly, as if acknowledging her withdrawal. It's waiting for the right input, she said. It wants me to lead it. Rhodes's jaw tightened. Lead it? We can't let a force like this control anyone. She shook her head. It's not controlling me. It's guiding me. But if we try to fight it, we might destroy what it wants to create, and maybe ourselves. Caro stepped closer. You're saying the only way to survive is to cooperate with it? Liana nodded slowly. We have to understand it, or we'll never be safe again. And maybe, just maybe, we can use it. Rhodes ran a hand through his hair. This is madness. We can't gamble with something we don't understand. It's not human. It doesn't think like us. Liana looked at him steadily. But it thinks like life itself. And humans, we adapt better than anything else. That's why it chose me. Harper swallowed hard. Chose you for what? To test us, Liana said quietly. To see if humans can become more connected, more capable, if we can survive by changing faster than anything else in the universe. Caro nodded slowly. So all this, the planet, the ring, the asteroids, it's not just a threat. It's a challenge. A test of adaptation. Rhodes stared at the glowing tower surrounding them, feeling the weight of her words. A test we didn't ask for. Liana's gaze drifted to the stars. We didn't choose it, but we're here, and now we have to pass it. As the aurora lifted off from the asteroid, the blue light from the structures followed them briefly, then faded into the darkness of space. Liana sat quietly, feeling the pulse beneath her skin. Stronger now, synchronized with the hum of the ship. She realized that this was only the beginning. The planet, the ring, the asteroids, they were all connected. And she was the bridge. Rhodes broke the silence. We head back to Earth, report what we saw, and warn them. Liana shook her head slowly. No, we don't warn them, not yet. They wouldn't understand. And besides, adaptation doesn't wait. It's already started. Harper glanced at her, fear in his eyes. Started in you? She nodded. Yes, and soon it could spread beyond me. If we survive, we'll need to understand it before it understands us. Caro sat silently, scanning the stars. "This changes everything," he said. "Not just humanity, life itself." Liana stared at her reflection in the viewport. Her eyes glowed faintly, and for the first time she felt a strange calm. She wasn't afraid, not yet, because deep inside she understood a truth no one else did. Adaptation was not just survival. It was evolution. It was power. And if humans could master it, they could become more than anyone had ever imagined. But the question lingered in her mind, darker and sharper than any fear. How much of herself would she have to give? To understand it fully? The aurora drifted quietly through the dark void of space. Stars stretched endlessly in every direction, and the faint blue pulse from Varan 6 lingered in Liana's mind. She had been silent for hours, staring at the stars, feeling a connection she couldn't explain. Captain Rhodes broke the quiet. "Dr. Voss, we need to make a decision. We can't stay in orbit forever. The systems are stable now, but we don't know when it might act again." Liana turned slowly. Her eyes glowed faintly, a soft reflection of the energy that had flowed through her on Varan 6 and the asteroid cluster. "It's not just acting," she said. "It's teaching. It wants us to understand adaptation fully. And I think it chose me to be the bridge." Rhodes frowned. "Bridge? What does that even mean?" "It means someone has to connect humans to this network," Liana said quietly. "To guide the process, to learn before it consumes everything. That's why it reached me. My mind can respond to it." Caro shook his head slowly. "Responding doesn't mean controlling, Liana. The energy you felt, it could rewrite your neural patterns completely. You could lose yourself." "I know," she said, her voice calm but resolute. "But if I refuse, we may all lose the chance to survive. Adaptation doesn't wait. It doesn't negotiate. We either embrace it or we're left behind." Harper's voice trembled. "And if you fail, what happens then?" Liana looked at him with steady eyes. "Then I'll fail alone. The rest of you can still fight to survive." Rhodes ran a hand through his hair, frustrated but realizing there was no easy solution. "Fine," he said. "We follow your lead. But we stay cautious. If anything goes wrong, we leave you behind." The crew spent the next hours preparing a controlled interface. Liana sat in the lab, electrodes and sensors surrounding her body. The filaments that had grown through her cells shimmered faintly, responding to the ship's systems. Caro monitored every reading, his hand steady but his mind alert. "Are you ready?" he asked softly. Liana nodded. "I am. We need to understand it. Not fight it. That's the only way to survive." The sensors activated and the blue glow in her eyes intensified. Across the ship, systems began reacting to her presence. Lights flickered, consoles hummed, and the ship's AI displayed strange, shifting symbols. Liana closed her eyes and reached out with her mind, feeling the pulse of Varan 6, the asteroid network, and the distant ring that still orbited the planet. The voice returned, stronger this time, yet patient and calm. "Bridge, open the path. Show understanding, learn." Liana inhaled deeply. She felt the energy flow into her, spreading through her body and mind. Information poured in. Alien mathematics, biological systems, planetary networks, and histories she had never known. Her vision expanded beyond the ship, beyond the stars, into the patterns that connected life across galaxies. For a moment, she felt dizzy, overwhelmed by the sheer scale of it, but she forced herself to focus, letting the pulse guide her. She realized that adaptation was not just survival. It was evolution, intelligence, and connection combined. It was the ability to see the universe as a living, learning system. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time lost meaning as Liana's mind intertwined with the network. She saw Varan 6, the ring, and the asteroid structures as one interconnected organism. Energy flowed between them, learning, adapting, and now, through her, communicating with humanity. The crew watched in awe. Harper whispered, "She's part of it now," Caro nodded. "But notice, she's not losing herself. She's controlling the connection, guiding it. That's human ingenuity." Rhodes remained silent, observing Liana. Her body was calm, but her mind radiated focus and power. The glow in her eyes dimmed slightly as she spoke softly. "It's understanding us. It's learning that humans adapt differently. Not just physically, but mentally, morally, emotionally. That's why we survive where others fail." Harper leaned closer. "So we passed the test?" Liana smiled faintly. "We are passing. but only because we understand that adaptation is not force, it's choice, guidance, and insight. We don't let it consume us. We learn from it. We improve ourselves, Caro's face softened. It's incredible. Humans truly are capable of more than we imagined. Suddenly the ship trembled. Outside, the glowing lines of the asteroid network shifted, forming new patterns as if responding to Liana's thoughts. She lifted her hand and the energy pulsed in sync with her heartbeat. The network is stabilizing, she said, her voice calm. It recognizes that humans can adapt, not just blindly but intelligently. It respects the mind that can guide it. Rhodes exhaled slowly, relief washing over him. So we're safe? Safe is a relative term, Liana said, opening her eyes. But we are no longer threatened. And more importantly, we can now influence adaptation instead of being controlled by it. Harper glanced at the stars beyond the viewport. This changes everything. Earth, the colonies, life everywhere. Yes, Liana agreed. And that's why we must be careful. Adaptation is powerful, but it must be understood, not abused, Caro nodded. And humans may be the only species capable of truly understanding it. For the next few days, the crew observed the network and the planet from orbit. Liana maintained the connection, guiding the pulse of energy to prevent sudden bursts of change. The blue light of her eyes remained faint but steady, a calm beacon of understanding between humanity and the alien intelligence. Through her, they learned how the structures of Varan 6 had grown so quickly, how the ring had anticipated their arrival, and how the asteroid network had begun expanding. Every insight confirmed what Liana had felt. Adaptation was not merely survival. It was guided evolution. Harper whispered one day, "Dr. Voss, you've changed," she smiled faintly. "I have, but not beyond recognition. The network taught me balance. It didn't overwrite me. It enhanced me." Caro studied her closely. "You understand it better than any human could." "Yes," she said, "and that's the point. We humans, we learn. We adapt faster than anything else. That's why it chose me, but it also chose all of us. Every choice we make can shape how adaptation unfolds." Weeks passed and the Aurora prepared to return home. The crew had gathered vast amounts of data, but the most important insight remained with Liana. She had learned to balance the connection, guiding the alien network while maintaining her humanity. Rhodes placed a hand on her shoulder. "You've done the impossible. You've become the bridge, but are you ready to leave it?" Liana looked out at the stars. "The network will continue, but now it knows humans are worthy of respect. It will wait, and when the time comes we can guide it again." Harper nodded slowly. "So adaptation doesn't end, it just grows." "Yes," Liana said softly, "and humans can grow with it." The Aurora lifted off, leaving Varan 6 behind. The planet glowed faintly in the distance, its pulse steady and calm. For the first time, the crew felt hope, not fear. Humans were small, fragile, and limited, but their ability to learn, to adapt, and to guide the future was unmatched. Caro glanced at Liana one last time before returning to the control console. "Do you think they'll come back?" "Maybe," Liana said, watching the stars streak past the viewport. "But we'll be ready, and if they do, humanity will not just survive. We'll thrive," Rhodes nodded. "We've seen what humans can do, against impossible odds." "We're remarkable." Liana smiled faintly, feeling the pulse beneath her skin, a reminder of the connection she now carried. "And that," she said quietly, "is only the beginning." As the Aurora jumped into faster-than-light travel, the stars stretched into streaks of light. Humanity was small but capable, fragile but strong, and through Liana they had learned what it truly meant to adapt, to evolve, and to face the universe without fear. The bridge between life, intelligence, and the cosmos had been formed. And for the first time, humans understood what it meant to stand among the stars, not as prey, not as observers, but as masters of their own adaptation.